What's up, everyone? Today we've got a little something special. This game took place a little while ago, a few days after Empires of the Ascended released. Decided to try out and record some gameplay with a different type of Aphelios deck on ladder, and I ran into none other than Swim, who was playing Sivir LeBlanc at the time. I'm playing Aphelios Swain. Also, sorry about the abrupt start on the recording. Didn't realize I forgot to hit the record button until we got into game, and my mic wasn't on for this one, which is why you're getting kind of a post narration of this game. You didn't miss much though. I tossed Swain and Leviathan for my opening hand, got Aphelios in Scorched Earth. Little did I realize I would never see Swain or Leviathan again for the rest of the game. And yeah, I'll be going over this round by round as best I can, since again it's been a while since this game happened, but I will say that I've watched the game from Swim's perspective on his VOD as well, so the narrating will be based off both of our hands. Nothing happened round one. Both of us ended up passing since neither of us had anything to do. Round two, Swim plays Trifarian Glory Seeker. After thinking a bit on it, if I should respond with House Spider or Death's Hand, I ended up playing House Spider. Swim ultimately ends up passing and banks the 1 mana he has left after thinking for a bit, which in hindsight would mean he has Exhaust in hand, and was considering it since House Spider is pretty much the perfect response to Glory Seeker. Turns out he did actually have it. I do think for a bit here on whether I want to open attack or play Mountain Goat. Pretty sure there were only two things I was thinking about there if I played the Goat, and that was Swim responding with either LeBlanc or House Spider. And because of that, I just ended up going for the open attack since it was also free damage. Swim ends up going with Preservarium for the draw, which from this end would mean he likely doesn't have House Spider in hand, and definitely doesn't have LeBlanc. As it turns out, he had neither. Swim's going to end up playing Sivir here on this round, and I pretty much snap pass afterwards because I really felt like I didn't have anything to do. I didn't want to give up Mountain Goat or the Fangs here to Glory Seeker. I think I regretted it a bit afterwards though, after passing, because I realized he could just pass back and burn my mana since Sivir likely took up his entire turn, which we now know that it did. I probably should have just played Mountain Goat here, but at the same time, because of my hand, losing mana here isn't that bad, and he does end up passing and burning my mana. Now, round 5 here, I decide to open with Mountain Goat since I have the attack token again, and it's pretty strong against what Swim has on board right now. Swim's going to open with House Spider here, and from his end, he did say that it would still leave him mana open for the bloody business that was in his hand, depending on my next move. So it's here I decide to just set up Aphelios, and I did seriously consider going for Calibrum first here as a way to take out the Glory Seeker this turn without having to use Death's Hand, but I do actually end up going with the standard Crescendum, and it is here that Swim is going to hit my Aphelios with a Shunpo. And this is interesting because while he's thinking about it here, he did consider Pale Cascade, which he should, but I'm not actually running Pale Cascade in this deck. The Aphelios play I made was me partially hoping Swim would play around a card that isn't actually in my deck and not go for any type of damage-based removal that Pale Cascade would blow out. Something that I was doing with this deck throughout the day, testing it out when this game happened. But anyway, because this makes the Glory Seeker pretty dangerous now and Swim's tapped out, I decide to Death's Hand it while I have the chance to make his attack a little bit worse. Unfortunately, my attack is now non-existent and Swim just swings in with Sivir. I'm going to end up chump blocking it with my 1/1 Spider. I probably could have taken the damage since I'm at 20, but I really didn't see much use in keeping the 1/1 around at this point, and I think chumping actually turns out to be pretty big, as you'll see later on. So it's round 6 here. After thinking a bit, Swim is just going to decide to play Ruin Runner here. From his perspective, he did consider keeping mana open again for bloody business and was considering how to deal with Swain from my end, but then he realized Swain isn't even that good on this turn, which he isn't, and I'm kind of in a pickle. I didn't have anything to deal with Spell Shield on Sivir, let alone this Ruin Runner. Spell Shield is basically blocking out half of my hand. Here I ultimately just go for the Crescendum, And I'm hoping to roll for House Spider so I can prevent some damage. But I take a while to consider my options here. I believe I was thinking about like how much mana I wanted to leave left after the attack. But I go with the Crescendum here. And I do actually end up hitting the House Spider. Swim's going to actually swing in here. And after some consideration, he decides to go ahead and use the exhaust in his hand that, again, he's had since the beginning of the game on my House Spider. And I'm going to end up chumping Sivir again and blocking his House Spider with my other one. And that'll pretty much be the combat. He does take a while here to decide on whether or not he wants to use this exhaust on my House Spider now or wait to use it later on. But he's going to end up doing it now. But he really considers it after some time here. But I'm kind of waiting to top deck my win cons at this point, because now we're going into 7 mana here. And I haven't seen any of my win conditions. I haven't seen Swain. I haven't seen Leviathan. I haven't seen Star Shaping. I haven't seen anything. I'm kind of just trying to buy time as much as I can at this point. Here I ended up trumping Sivir again there and blocking the House Spider with my other one, and I go ahead and play the Fangs since now I can potentially get a bit more value out of it now that I've actually lost some life. I strongly consider the Trickster here since it has elusive, but I ended up going for Serpent. It doesn't deal with anything on his board here, but I wanted it as an answer to LeBlanc if she comes down later on. So it's round 7. This is a pretty tough turn for me thanks to Spell Shield. Like I said earlier, I'm basically waiting to draw Swain, Leviathan, or Star Shaping. Haven't seen any of them so far. And if I don't draw any of them, I'm not going to win this game. I do take a while here as well because I want to figure out exactly what I'm playing this turn, and I'm kind of basing my plays off of what I think Swim will do as well. And after deciding how much mana I wanted to leave open, I'm going to end up settling on Gifts from Beyond here, since that's pretty much my only decent play, and getting Gravitum to break the Spell Shield on Ruin Runner. Feels pretty bad because I'm spending 4 mana just to do this. So I'm pretty much tapping down quite a bit for my opening play, but it is what it is. I could have chosen Sivir here, but my goal is to try and get Swim to block one of my 3/2s with Ruin Runner, since he's never going to block with Sivir. And the Overwhelm does represent a pretty serious clock, and slowing that down's pretty good. Swim decided to drop LeBlanc down, since LeBlanc still leaves 4 mana open for Bloody Business, and I see this as my chance to place the Serpent that I got earlier to try and take her out. He is going to end up passing here, and I'm just going to go ahead and attack and challenge LeBlanc to try to kill her while sticking to the plan and attacking with my 3/2s to draw out a Ruin Runner block. I don't even think I was considering Bloody Business at this point, thinking back on this game. At least not here. But even if I did, Bloody Business at best saves Ruin Runner, but still doesn't prevent LeBlanc from dying. And I still have Arachnoid Sentry with Flock for next round to try and deal with Ruin Runner in that scenario. Swim does take a little bit of time here. Ultimately decides to actually just let everything through. He was actually considering using Whirling Death to either keep LeBlanc alive or Ruin Runner alive, but again, he played around a card I don't have, which is Pale Cascade, which again is the correct play. He should be playing around Pale Cascade, even though I don't have it in this deck. But Reputation is activated after this attack, and because of that, he's going to play Whispered Words afterwards for 2 mana. And that'll be his turn. He'll pass after that. And I don't have anything else really to do here either. So I believe I end up passing here as well. I don't go for this Death's Hand on the 6/1. I probably could have, but I just banked the spell mana because I have it for later. So we're going into round 8 here. Swim's going to start off with another Ruin Runner. And I managed to top deck Paddlestar, which makes my Arachnoid Sentry a bit more useful against all this spell shield. So I can't remember what Swim was thinking here while he was considering playing the Ruin Runner. There's something else he was considering playing, I believe. I just can't remember what it was, but he ended up going with the Ruin Runner. The Ruin Runner does still leave him 5 mana for open to play one of his important 4 mana spells. Again, the Bloody Business from earlier. I believe that's what he was considering. Or Bloody Business in addition to other spells like Whirling Death, Exhaust, stuff like that. Just wanted to leave open mana for multiple spells. But anyway, he does end up with playing the Ruin Runner. I go ahead and play the Arachnoid Sentry to pop the spell shield off of Sivir. And Slim's going to end up swinging with everything here. So. But yeah, here I think he was considering Bloody Business here again, I believe. Almost positive he was considering Bloody Business here, from what I remember. But we'll see. He ends up letting it go.
Business as usual.
He's attacking in a way where, I mean, no matter what, Sivir is actually going to flip here, if I remember correctly. Yes, Sivir's 31 out of 35, so it actually doesn't matter which unit's on the left, as long as it's not the 1/1. This was actually a pretty funny scenario. So I block in a way to leave both myself and Mountain Goat alive, and I use Death's Hand on the 1 health runner. The plan is to Paddlestar the Sivir after combat. Swim's going to eventually let everything go again here after considering playing one of the 2 other spells that we now know are Rite of Negation for the Death's Hand and Whirling Death. It was kind of funny because on his end, half of his chat was saying Sivir would get Spell Shield back when she leveled up, and the other half was saying she wouldn't. I played this turn out based on her not getting Spell Shield back, and honestly, I don't see why she should or why she would, because Lux doesn't get her barrier back when she levels up, so like, why should Sivir get her Spell Shield back when she levels up? It wouldn't make sense. But I think that this entire exchange, this entire decision was based on what chat was saying at the time, whether or not Sivir would get Spell Shield back. Because he was looking at the Oracle Eye and everything. But the Oracle Eye was actually tricky because it actually showed, it shows the champion briefly getting its shield back, but then the champion ends up losing it. So that's what ends up happening. I go for the Paddlestar here as planned. And he's actually going to counter this with Rite of Negation instead. And I don't know if I said it earlier, but he did actually consider using Rite of Negation on the Death's Hand, but decided not to in the end. So Paddlestar gets countered. I go ahead and use the gem here to heal up my goat, and more importantly, bring it to a 4/2 so that way Swim can't easily block it with Sivir. Again, not that he would, but I just kind of did it as a just in case measure. I top deck the Fangs here, and I open with that just to see what my options are. Mainly, I'm looking for something to pop the other spell shield, and I pull Equinox. And so that's what I decide to go with after thinking about it for a bit. Slim's going to play another Whispered Words here to draw first before committing anything else, and then he's just going to pass back to me. What's a little weird here, though, is that I decide to switch plans by using Gem on the Fangs and attacking instead of going for the Spell Shield pop with Equinox. And it is here that Swim's going to decide to use Bloody Business to hit my fangs, so that way I can't gain life. And this puts me in a strange situation. I felt like I really needed the life gain, so once he casts this bloody business, I'm just gonna decide to actually bite the bullet and play Scorched Earth followed by Ravenous Flock to pop the spell shield and try and kill the Ruin Runner to keep the fangs alive. It looks bad, but to be fair, if I went for Equinox first, Swim would have responded with Bloody Business there, and then I'd still have to spend 2 other cards on top of that just to save the fangs. So I would have had to let the fangs die in that situation. I just value the life gain that much in this scenario, and I was willing to go down a card, especially after he chose not to block at all. So that's what ends up happening. This not blocking actually turned out to be pretty huge here. It was a really important life point swing. So Swim's gonna drop House Spider with the 3 mana he's got left, and that'll be the end. We'll both end up passing because I won't have anything to do, and he won't have anything to do either. Not for 1 mana anyway. Nothing that's worth spending 1 mana on anyway. We go to round 10, and I finally top deck a win con. I top deck Star Shaping. So I basically know what my turn is here, and that all I need to do is survive this round. Hope to draw, ideally, the Great Beyond is what I want, but I'll take Living Legends or the Immortal Fire, and then try to win the game off of any of those. Swim opens with another Trifarian Glory Seeker, and I just decided to play Star Shaping now instead of waiting until possible combat. I do manage to hit the Immortal Fire here, so I do take it, but then I decide to pass back. And I think if there was any mistake that I made in this game, it was this one. I should have played Equinox on the Glory Seeker here, and you can see I actually considered it before passing. Sivir LeBlanc doesn't have many other good targets for Equinox. The only other ones are Ruin Runner, and at the time of this game, Iron Ballista, which currently Swim is not running anymore. I don't know if other variants are still running the Ballista, but he was at the time. Also, Ruin Runner has Spell Shield, and we've seen 2 already, so that basically just leaves Iron Ballista outside of Trifarian Glory Seeker. Swim did have another Rite of Negation in hand, and he may have actually used it to counter Equinox, but I don't think he would have felt good about countering a 1 mana spell that's basically half of a full card. Swim, after playing Iron Ballista here, then actually ends up attacking in after I pass, again choosing not to use Equinox here, which was a misplay. But it takes a little bit of time trying to decide what he wants to hook. And he ends up going with the Fangs just because it's going to represent less life gain on my part. And there was one card he was considering here. There's a spell. He was considering Exhaust, I believe. Because he has another Exhaust in hand. He was considering Exhaust. And I think, again, Whirling Death. But he decided that the Exhaust really didn't matter that much if I was going to gain less life off the Fangs. So he just lets everything go here. And ends up not playing any spells. So my entire board gets wiped, but I do end up surviving the turn. So here I drop the Immortal Fire, and Swim basically has to have double Bloody Business in order to stay alive. If he doesn't have double Bloody Business, then I end up winning. And it's my last chance to win the game. I'm not going to win the game unless this goes through. He did top deck 1, but he didn't have a way to find the other Bloody Business, so he ends up scooping. So pretty close game. Not getting to Swain or Leviathan meant I had to stall for time and for more draws. Having Star Shaping as an extra win con was part of the reason I wanted to pair Swain with Targon in the first place, just so I'd have more ways to end the game. But I can't say that this deck is actually good after the testing I did. Swain just works best when paired with other regions that are really good at dealing damage. And outside of Aphelios, that's basically non-existent in Targon. His Noxus package alone isn't enough to level up Swain quickly. And with Aphelios, you kind of have to spam Calibrum and Gravitum to make flipping Swain even remotely consistent. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Hopefully this was as much of a surprise for you as it was for me. If you liked the gameplay, hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel to not miss out on future videos. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch this, and I'll see you all next time.